Welcome back. It's now time to go in depth. To debate or not, ironically, that's the mood as the ruling People's National Party, PNP in Jamaica, has laid down several requirements before they participate in the national political debates. The PNP wants the JLP leader, Andrew Holness, to apologize for alleged derogatory comments directed at PNP leader and Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller. They're also demanding that Mr. Holness answer integrity-related questions concerning the source of funding for his Beverly Hills house in St. Andrew. The PNP says when those questions are answered, then they will be prepared to debate. But should these issues deprive the Jamaican electorate an opportunity to hear both parties express their policies on pertinent issues should they form the next government? To help us discuss these issues, we are joined by board member of the Jamaica Civil Society Coalition, JCSE, Carol Narcisse, and vice chairman of the Jamaica Debates Commission, Brian Schmidt. Thanks for joining us, lady and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, let's start with you first, Ms. Narcisse. How important are these debates, and can the PNP dictate whether or not they should be called off?
Well, the debates are very important. The debates, we have had debates for each of the elections since 2002. And so that means that we've now come to expect the debates. We've now come to look forward to the debates as an important part of the democratic process, an important part of our informed decision-making process, because they provide us with an opportunity to compare the major candidates and major parties and the leaders of those, compare their policy views, compare their command of the issues, compare their seeming sincerity as far as one is able to discern that looking at them at television and so on. So it's not the only means, but it certainly is one of the important means by which the Jamaican electorate have been able to help to make up their minds, and especially where elections are increasingly close and where significant portions of the electorate are not committed to any particular party. Then opportunities like those presented by the debates are important to help people to make a call.
As it relates to the uncommitted voters, do you think it plays a role helping them to form an opinion ahead of the general election?
I think it does. I think it's one of the things that helps people to make up their minds. The debates, increasingly those members of the electorate who are the uncommitted quote-unquote voters are showing up as that part of the Jamaican population that is really now looking for more substance. They're not bandwagonists. They're not out there on the campaign trail. In fact, they are in large part turned off of the political process. And so it's more the aspects of the campaign that provide solid information, policy positions that people can chew on and debate and question and so on, that portion of the electorate is likely to be most interested in.
Okay, Mr. Schmidt, the PNP has laid down some prerequisites, so to speak, about what will allow them to participate in the debate. Now, they were supposed to get back to the Jamaica Debates Commission on Monday by 5 p.m. Have they reached out to you?
Okay, I want to be precise. The Jamaica Debates Commission is awaiting 3 responses from the political parties. One, we had asked that based on the fact that we had missed the production deadline for the first debate, which should have been scheduled to be tomorrow, we proposed some new dates, which would be this Friday, this Saturday, this Sunday. Now, the PNP, up to this point, has not yet responded to the new proposed dates. So that is one response. The second response that we are expecting is that they have promised that they're going to respond to us today, whether they are going to participate in the debates at all. That's the second response. Now, the JLP, in turn, who has agreed to debate already, they have responded to our proposed dates by saying that they can do this Friday, which is the 19th. They're willing to debate this Saturday, which is the 20th. They cannot do the 21st, but they are willing to do a date after that. So logically, what that would mean, they're willing to debate on the 22nd, which is next week Monday, or on the 23rd, because by law here, you cannot campaign on the day before the actual election day. So therefore, the 24th would be out, since election day is the 25th. So that is where we are so far in terms of the response we have gotten from the parties. Now, something that is interesting is that I saw in the media, in a report in the Observer, that the People's National Party has softened its position a bit, because, as you may remember, they were saying that they needed a retraction and an apology from Mr. Holness, Andrew Holness, the opposition leader, over different things. And also they were saying that they had an issue with the format. Now what they're saying is that the format for the leadership debate is no longer a sticking point for them. So their issue now is this apology and retraction that they want to get from Mr. Holness. And we don't have a position on that. I just want to be very clear, because that is not something that the JDC is involved in any way, shape, or form.
But now that you are looking at the 19 to the 20 and possible the 22, how difficult will it be to prepare adequately for the political debates? Okay, the Jamaica Debates Commission is pretty much always in a semi-state of preparedness, because, as you know, in Jamaica, there are no fixed election dates. So we know when the election date is going to be at the same time as the general public. We have no insight, we have no insider information, nothing. So when it is announced is when we find it. So as a consequence, we have to do a lot of the preparatory work ahead of time. I mean, in fact, we have been working on this election cycle from 2014. So we are a lot prepared for what is going to happen. Now, we need 3 clear days before the day of a debate, the first debate, to be ready. So if we get a sign-off by tonight, tomorrow morning, we will be able to properly stage the first debate on this Friday. Okay then. Ms. Narcisse, let's get back to you to look at some of the issues the PNP has placed on the table why it will not participate at the debate. They've put some serious issues on the table as it relates to Mr. Holness' assets and his Beverly Hills house. What do you make of the timing of Dr. Phillips's announcement? And do you believe the PNP has put forward these situations in a bid to hide away from the debates?
Well, let me take the two separately. One, the context is not appropriate. The People's National Party government has at its disposal legally constituted bodies and commissions of the Parliament through which matters like this and questions about the integrity of parliamentarians can properly and legally be raised. The Integrity Commission, the Integrity of Parliamentarians Commission, which is the commission to which parliamentarians have to declare their assets every year, is the legal entity that such questions ought to have been submitted for the Commission to look into the matter, particularly vis-a-vis the declarations that the Leader of the Opposition would have had to have made. So if the People's National Party government were serious in its pursuit of the matters, it had ample time and legally constituted bodies, including the police, the major anti-corruption, major anti-crime force, MOCA, which again, if it had information that suggested anything untoward, etc., it could have made reference. Now, the integrity of the Parliamentary Integrity Commission has, within the provisions of the law, the ability to refer parliamentarians to the Director of Public Prosecutions if in its assessment of the declarations that they submit, it believes those declarations either to be false or it has information that suggests that there is some matter that needs criminal investigation. It can refer. So National Integrity Action, that non-government organization, has in fact written to Mr. Holness asking whether any such referral has ever been made, etc., etc. But an important development since the last hour this evening is that Mr. Holness has issued a detailed response to the questions raised about his house, giving particulars as to what was financed how, and the value of the property of 52 million, and so on. So the sticking point which the PNP, one of the sticking points which the PNP has raised, which is unless he answers those questions, they will not debate, the ground has shifted in the last hour.
Okay. Ms. Narcisse, I'm afraid we're out of time, but I want to give this final question to Mr. Schmidt. Some persons have been saying that probably the NDM should come in place if the PNP does not want to debate. Is that an avenue to delve into, Mr. Schmidt?
No, it is not an avenue to delve into, because for a party to participate in the debate, they must qualify to participate in the debate. Now, there are three criteria by which a party needs to participate. One, they must be recognized by the EOJ as a legitimate political party seeking public office. So that's one. Two, they must have garnered 10% of the popular vote in the last election. Or three, well, the first one is a given. First one is a must. The second is not mandatory, but if you have not garnered 10% of political support in the last election, you must have 15% of the popular support in a current respected national poll. Now, you may ask why 10% of the popular vote and 15% in a poll. The 15% in the poll is to cover for margin of error. So that is really what it is. Now, if you look on it, only the PNP and the JLP satisfy the criteria. So therefore, we are not in a position to bring in a substitute. And in fact, if they had satisfied the criteria, they would have been a part of the debate. Okay. Anybody who satisfied that criteria would be a part of the debate, because debates are not necessarily held between two opponents. It would be at least two opponents.
Okay, then. Thank you so much, Mr. Schmidt. I'm afraid that's where we have to leave it. Thank you for joining me, Ms. Narcisse, as well.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, thank you. And that's it for In Depth. We were joined by member of Jamaica Civil Society Coalition, JCSC, Carl Narcisse, and Vice Chairman of the Jamaica Debates Commission, Brian Schmidt.